Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the 8th reading of Shite Creepypastas, hosted by yours truly, Parrot-Antics. 8 episodes. I didn't know I would go that far, and even though, given the condition I'm currently in, that having terrible sneeze, I will try myself to survive this sodding through this sodding inconvenience to read you the absolutely awful story that for some reason is fundamentally broken when it comes to both scariness and common sense. That's right, we're back at the Killerverse, although knowing that I have talked about only one Killerverse story that was original, well, not original, the most popular version of Jeff the Killer. This time we'll see an attempt of making a love interest slash rival for this fish face. Yes, it is time that we will talk about the story of Jane the Killer. I had to prepare myself for this episode never mind, sorry, for quite a time. I had it in my mind, thinking of what's actually fundamentally wrong with this story, and I think I found it. And the results of my research, in quotation marks, huge as the biggest skyscraper in the world, I will show them to you. I have 10 pages to bear through, plus one bonus, but about that at a later point. Now let's see how Jane the Killer, the real story, is notorious in its shittiness. Listen, the only reason I'm going out of my way to tell any of you this is because this story, Jane the Killer, I thought there should be written the story of Jane the Killer, because this is a character. Because the story Jane the Killer is starting to piss me off. You're not so original, dear narrator, but to be fair, I'm too pissed off by the Killerverse. Just because you're the second story that I have to tackle does not mean you're going to have lenient treatment than the others. My real name is Jane Arkansas. Oh really? I thought you were being named Jane Arkansas, Oklahoma, Maine, California, Texas, Tennessee, Utah, Arizona, or whatever. AKA Jane the Killer. If the killers start to piss you off, for what bloody reason you add the killer to your own name? Would you like to explain that to us? Sure not. And this is how I met Jeff. The reason I look the way I do and why I want to kill him. As many other people with common sense would like to. But honestly, I presume your reason is not that good. When I heard that a new family had moved in across the street, I wasn't that surprised. It was a nice neighborhood. And the house was relatively cheap considering where it was. Of course, it was a fancy neighborhood. Let's not forget about it. It was a fancy neighborhood. So, given the fact the housing there was quite expensive, but relatively cheap house, I guess it would require some maintenance. I guess I was about 13 to 14 when everything went to hell. 13, 14. How ideal. How ideal range of age to become a shitty psycho murder or whatever. My apologies. I never really talked to Jeff when he moved in. To be frank, I never talked to him until that night. What night? Did he, I don't know, attempt to force himself upon you or whatever? But it's too soon to talk about that now. So, why do you mention that night? My first impression of Jeff was that he was a good kid, probably got nice grades, rarely got into fights, maybe even a cool guy if he opened up to someone. Or maybe he opened someone up. Because we know he's the killer. His brother Lou Kang, Lu Bu, I forgot how was his name, seemed like he put family first by the way he sat with his brother on the sidewalk. How he could put his family first, by the way, I don't think he should be able to do that because, you know, he was slaughtered. Or maybe I'm running way too ahead of in the future. Of course, I was just guessing at the time and really didn't put much thought into my analysis. So you are a scientist at the age of 13, 14. Because I was getting ready for school when I looked out the window and I was running late, which was unusual for me at that time in my life. So you were never used to getting late because you, I don't know, you forgot your phone, your books or whatever? Because I was hardly ever late for anything, especially school. I presume you have a hard time at school because of that. I wasn't surprised when I saw Randy and his stooges. Well, the three stooges, except there are only two. Go up to Jeff and Lou on that stupid skateboard of his. One skateboard? All three of those imbeciles drove one skateboard. At once. I would love to see that, because I can hardly imagine this being possible. Randy was nothing but a bully. He always picked up on anyone who was smaller than him. He was even the reason why my parents drove me to school instead of letting me take the bus like everyone else. Really, because of some 12-year-old idiot that would possibly... What 12-year-old idiot would stand up to bully a a 14-year-old girl. I think that within a blink of an eye, he would have a punch in his face, and then his potential victim would simply go away because she wouldn't have time to fuck around with him. So instead, give him a solid punch and go away. Good tea. Everyone had their lunch money or some kind of cash given to Randy and his goons because of some toll, and he demanded from everyone. What toll? Is your street a paid motorway or what? Or maybe I don't know. It's you need to cross by ferry, and that's why you need to have a toll. We all knew Randy's group had knives and threatened to use them on us. We ever told anyone about the money they took from the other kids on the block. Really. This is just a nice fancy neighborhood when just to go to do some shopping, you need to carry around a baseball bat in self-defense or whatever the hell. That's quite fancy. Everyone except the new kids, they were trying to intimidate like the rest of us. Honestly, wouldn't it sound better like they were trying to intimidate them like the rest of us? When I saw Randy talking to them through the window, I just looked away. It was wussy thing to do, but I had better things to do than watch another kid hand over his money to Randy. But curiosity got the better of me, and I looked up a few seconds later. One, I guess curiosity killed the cat again, but the second. Didn't you have better things to do? Go to fucking school, prepare yourself. It's none of your business. But you're gonna stare at anyway. Because I don't know, maybe you somehow found Geoffrey like his sweet cute boy or whatever the hell, and you don't admit it straight out. I don't know. What I saw left me speechless. Jeff was standing now, and it looked like Randy already had what he wanted. Or maybe, yeah, because assuming he wanted to have a fist in his face. Yeah, that's definitely what he wanted. Just sit down, I thought. Don't be stupid. But you know, Geoffrey is stupid. Then I saw Jeff punch Randy in the face and break his wrist. Oh my god, I whispered. Then I yelled, "You idiot!" I don't know. Why would you yell at him? Would he listen to you anyway? My parents ran down the stairs and asked what happened. Why your parents? Because you yelled like an idiot. You yelled, "You idiot," out of your throats. You're the idiot yourself. Then they looked outside and saw what was going on. Jeff had already cut the skinny guy. I think his name was Keith. And he went down screaming. Oh really? I thought his name was Moron. Troy only went down with a single punch. And all that gravity, assuming, because we knew that he was a walking blob. Wait, went down with a single punch. I don't know, what is punch? Is that a noise that a that a cartoony boxing glove in the box makes when it slaps your face? Typo being typo, but I found that funny. Since my house was across the street from where Jeff and his brother were sitting. Oh really, I thought he was standing but when beating up those idiots. Unless, I don't know, he was trying to beat them up on the ground level. That's possible. With the front of the house having big windows, we saw the whole thing. Or at least I did. My parents came in after the part where Randy stole their wallet, so they didn't know the whole truth. Ah. It was disturbing watching Jeff fight. He was enjoying himself so much. You don't say. I think you would enjoy too, getting experience points each time you would win a fight. Don't you think that would be quite better? Quite a hefty reward? I felt a knot in my stomach, like something was happening that shouldn't be. And from the look on Lou's face, Jeff didn't do this kind of thing often. Oh, so you two are having a weird feeling out of your arse. Just go to school, but first go to the fucking toilet. We don't want to repeat that. At least for this moment. Next thing I know, I hear sirens and the new kids bolted out of there. The cops came around with the bus driver to check on the victims. What victims? They're just some bullies that needed a solid beat up. It seemed they were going to be alright. You know, considering the amount of crap kicked out of them. But honestly, it was well deserved of them, because even though Geoffrey didn't know they were terrorizing any of your neighborhood, down to the point he was getting ransom from skinheads or hoodies or metalheads even. And here you have it, a 13-year-old random brat just beating them up out of nowhere. Since my parents' policy, single parent, not both parents, was no cops, ever since my dad got framed by a narc cop when he wanted to draw attention off himself. What does that mean? And why some random policeman wanted to frame your father? For what bizarre reason? And wanted to draw attention off of himself. What does that mean? Maybe he wanted to dismiss the suspicions or whatever, deny the suspicions. When police were as what place, not where as they were doing something, investigating the case of the missing Coke. Yeah, because you know the tank with all that Coca-Cola, it's really worth millions of dollars. In addition to that, quitting the force. So your father used to be a policeman. Then he was framed by some corrupt official, corrupt policeman. But what was he framed with? Did he stole all that cocaine or whatever the hell? Did he, I don't know, snorted it on duty? So many questions, so little answers. So when we heard sirens, we went into the backyard, got into the car and left. So you just decided to run away, like, I don't know, thinking your father is a fugitive or what, but there's no reason he would be a fugitive. No charges were pressed against him. So why you just run away? When my parents drove me to school, they told me very clearly that they didn't want me talking to Jeff ever. I did not disagree with them. Yeah, because he was so bloody scary, just beating up those idiots who rightfully deserved such punishment for what they've been doing for months, weeks. Never mind. I had art first period, so I didn't see Jeff until close to the end of the school. Yeah, because your art classroom was taking whole day. I can still see the colors in my artwork if I think hard enough. You know, I still can see colors in the artwork. And I don't need to think hard about them. I just see them. That's the power of the sight. But when I try to look at anything now, it all seems grey. Or maybe because you were drawing only with a pencil. You can't just put random colors with single pencil that draws black. I guess that's the price someone pays for losing their innocence. You lost innocence by watching some idiots beating each other's guts. Really. I'd rather see, I don't know, you would lose innocence like by seeing something you shouldn't be even. I don't know, I would say you would lose your innocence with witnessing something much more gruesome like rape or murder. But that looked just like a typical street fight. Your psyche is very pathetic. I didn't see Jeff until the final period of the day. Yeah, because, you know. But, okay, what classes did you have at the second half of your school day? I don't know. You don't tell anyway. When I did, he seemed off. When I did what? When I did see him. Maybe see. He seemed off. At first I thought he was just faking the joy so people wouldn't suspect him for a crime that he did. Yes, because self-defense in this universe in particular is a heinous crime that's punishable by death. Or no, it was a year without sentence. In a jail, in a juvie, you go guess. But he really was enjoying himself. It wasn't because he was excited to be at school. I could tell that much for him. Yeah, because who would be happy to have to endure a school life 5 days per week. The smile he wore looked sadistic to me. It was a smile of a madman. Yeah, because he was so mad that Really, I don't know. The second that bell rang, I bolted out of those doors, I bolted out those doors as fast as I could. Nobody but me knew what Jeff really was. A freak, and an idiot, and a retard, and a moron. And the list goes on and on and on. The next day seemed to be passing without incident at first. Then I saw the police car in front of Jeff's house. I guess... looks like they got you, I thought. Oh really? Now you're starting to piss me off. Nobody could gotten away with something like that. You know, with the neighborhood watch and everything. Yeah, because self-defense, again, as I said that before, self-defense in this universe is a serious crime. But I was wrong with who they arrested. Instead of coming out... coming out. How... My god. Just a lewd joke put in this... Sorry, maybe I go out of context. Instead of coming out with Jeff like I expected they would, the police came out with Lou, his brother. Yeah, because he totally has beaten up those idiots with the powers of bare sight. I was barely forming the thought of Jeff framing his brother for the assault when he came out of the house yelling at Lou, "Lou, tell them I did it, because of that I will have thousands of stupid fangirls." I was able to hear him this time because the front door was open to my house. Didn't you have anything better to do than just staring at those idiots? Also, you barely formed the thought of Geoffrey framing his brother, when it was his brother who framed himself. So this moron would stay in the fancy neighborhood so the plot would go on. I couldn't hear what Lou said in reply to Jeff's outburst, but it was definitely not what Jeff wanted to hear. A few seconds later, the police drove off with Lou straight to juvie, with no court proceeding, with no court order or anything, and Jeff was left aside with his mother. A few minutes later, she went inside the house and left Jeff outside. Although, Jeff, repetitions, once again, how classy. Although I couldn't hear him from across the street, I could tell that he was crying. Yeah, because maybe he was howling to the moon. Oh my god, he's becoming a werewolf. But I haven't seen him growing any fur. But who wouldn't be in that situation? I don't know, his mother didn't cry. The next day rumors were spreading like wildfire about Lou. It took so long for the rumors to get started because everyone was afraid to talk about Randy getting his arse handed to him. Like what? You mean he handed his own arse to those two morons? When it was revealed that he wouldn't be coming back to school for a few days, who? This Randy and his goons? Lou? You don't say anything. everyone decided to take advantage of the fact and enjoy it as much as possible, and lots of random bullshit started popping up. I heard Lou cut off Keith's arm. Yeah, he cut off his arm with typical kitchen knife. Universal kitchen knife, because universal kitchen knife is so good at cutting through skin, muscles, and bones at once. Oh yeah, well, I heard that Lou hit Troy so hard in the stomach that he ralphed up blood. I don't know, the gravity did that better. That's nothing. That's nothing. I heard that he punched Randy so hard in the nose that it came out the back of his head. That's actually a quite good idea for a fatality. Etc, etc, etc. Personally, I didn't want anything to do with Jeff or his brother, but he just looked so alone and upset, and I had to do something. Now you're pissing me off. Now you say you don't want to do anything, to have anything in common with Geoffrey. Then you just look at him and he looks alone, upset. I don't know. Maybe I'll just talk to him, because even though I had better things to do, I will just go and talk to him. So I wrote him a note telling him that he had a friend in this place and that I was going to testify at Lou's trial about what really happened. The trial. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time we have a mention of a trial. Something that was not in the 2011 Jeff the Killerversum story. That's actually a good. I give you a thumbs up for correcting this shit. So there might be a trial. That's a good story. That's a good point. I don't mean this story as itself is good. It won't be in the ShitePasta if it was a good story. I left a note at his desk signed with the letter J, like Jesus. Or a jester. Before class started. Then they left the room. So I don't know, maybe it was I guess you might have gone to the toilet. Oh my god, so yeah. Sorry. Sorry to keep you so silent. I needed to get some tissues. When I came back, Jeff was at his desk and the note was gone. I don't know, maybe he just thought it was a silly joke and tossed it into the bin. Saturday rolled around and I was home, alone while my parents were at work. So where is your father working? He left the police because of some idiot trying to frame him and so what. So where does he work? The kid next door was having a birthday party. At the time I left my window open because I wanted a nice breeze in my room while I did my homework. But the kids were getting so loud that I decided to close my window. And there goes the nice breeze. Now you'll suffocate in all that stench. I was about to close it when I saw Jeff playing with the kids. He was running around wearing one of those fake cowboy hats and carrying a toy gun. He looked so ridiculous I had to laugh. Maybe he isn't the monster I think he is, I thought, ashamed of myself for suspecting he could have been one. That doesn't sound hypocritical. As I was closing the window, I saw Randy, Keith and Troy jump over the fence on their skateboards to where Jeff was. For fuck's sake, just let her close the bloody window. Not again, I said to the open window. You tell me, the window replied. Although, nah, that would be possible if she was, I don't know, high as a kite. But I guess she isn't. I saw Randy and Jeff exchange small talk, but I couldn't hear what they said over the sound of kids yelling and screaming. Yeah, because you know, that's what kids do. Scream, yell, and run around like they were having their arses burned. Then Randy rushed at Jeff and tackled him. I was about to grab the phone and dial 911 when I heard Troy and Keith shout, "No one interrupts or gods will fly." I looked out the window again and saw that they both had matching guns in their hands. Yeah, that's a fancy neighborhood, as I said in the Jeff the Killer episode. I couldn't have called for help then without endangering the lives of the others. I don't know, you could always call the police. I couldn't have called 911 anyway. The batteries in my phone was dead. Multiple batteries. I guess she was having the phone on AA batteries, like 4 AA batteries. that's how this sentence is written. Of course, you have a rechargeable battery, but I don't know. You should have used a phone charger before, or maybe you should have played those games on your phone at free time. Jeff was on his side, getting kicked by Randy in the face when he grabbed his foot and twisted it. Randy fell over and Jeff tried to walk back to the house when Troy grabbed him by the collar and threw him towards the house. Yeah, because that was a rocket-powered throw. I heard glass breaking and I knew that they were going to kill him. "Randy, you asshat!" I screamed at him. But he just scream louder, I don't know, because you can't be heard, because those from Proxima Centauri can't hear you. But he couldn't hear me over the sound of the kids screaming. Never mind. I couldn't wait anymore, so I ran to my parents' bedroom and searched for my dad's phone, hoping that he forgot it at home. Why would he forget his phone? My heart was pounding in my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher the chance of someone getting killed was. I guess your heart was so pounding it would just try to escape you because it wouldn't, because it's running that fast. I finally found the phone underneath the bed. How clumsy is your father to leave his phone under the bed? I wasted no time punching in the numbers because the keyboard because the keypad of the screen is so tough. You need to punch in the numbers with your bare fist. 911, hello. I need help. There's an emergency going on next door. There's no separation between those two parts. I think there's, I need help. Exclamation mark. There's an emergency going on next door. That should be. Some guys jumped the fence and are beating up someone. They've got guns. You need to hurry, please. Okay, miss. I need you tell me the address and I'll send the help right away. I quickly told her my address and the address of the house next door. Address, 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 address. Repetitions. How classy. Please hurry, I said. It's okay. Just stay on the line. Bang, bang, bang. Wait, were there bangs inside the operator's room? R.I.P. the operator. I heard loud gunshots come from next door. Ah, I see. This is just... Yeah, so the bang, bang, bang was just formatted the same way as the lines of the operator. I yelped and dropped the phone. It landed on the ground and broke. At least you didn't hang up, but I don't think your dad will be happy seeing his phone broken. Then I ran to my bedroom window to try and figure out what was going on. But no sooner had I poked my head out of the window, I heard a whoosh. Because someone launched a bullet from his slingshot. Or those bullies shot me with their guns. I had the whoosh of fire and the screaming. Ah, I see. I'm going to make Jeff scream like that again when I find him. So wait a second, you're going to beat Jeff? For what reason? He didn't bully you or whatever. The only thing I can compare it to is the death cry of an animal. It was at the time for me horrifying. Yeah, although I saw many animals that were on the verge of death and they didn't even cry. They just stared at me silently. You know, the birds, dogs. I saw that. They didn't cry, dying. They're just staring, weakened. But now it sounds like music to me, and there is nothing I want to hear more in the world than him screaming. For what particular reason? Did he bully you? Did he harm you in some way? No. Then why you wish him the worst? Out of nowhere. Go fuck yourself, please. I saw fire spew out of the house like an angry dragon. The angry dragons don't spew out of the house like fire. I ran downstairs immediately and got the portable fire extinguisher from the kitchen and ran outside. As I was running, I popped the pin for the extinguisher for immediate use. Oh really? I thought you would pop the pin. You'd pull the pin and then, I don't know, put it in your mouth like a lollipop. Luckily the door was unlocked as I barged in, but when I saw Jeff, I completely froze. He was lying at the bottom of the stairs, almost completely on fire, with those trying to put it out. Possibly slamming him with heavy objects. Because nobody thought that you should use a blanket. I saw bits of his skin through all of the I saw bits of his skin through all the commotion. Some parts pink, some parts charred, but it was all covered in red. At the sight of all this, I screamed and then I passed out. Last thing I remember some of the adults running towards me. Whether it was to help me or get the fire extinguisher, I don't know. You just passed out. Out of blue. Interesting, really. When I came to where? What place exactly? I was in a hospital bed wearing one of those gowns that a patient wears. Ah, so you're in hospital, good to know. A nurse came in a few moments later. She had long brown hair in a bun hidden under the hair hat. She looked like she didn't want to be here. Honestly, because having us an insight on how the nurse looks like is so important in this story. All I know is that you were brought in with a few other kids because you fell and hit your head on the fire extinguisher. She said that on it. Oh, really? Wait a second. She hit herself with fire extinguisher then passed out, or no, wait. She first passed out and hit herself on a fire extinguisher. How was that possible? I have no bloody idea, but I assume that was the case. A fire extinguisher? I reached up my hand and touched my head. I felt bandages and a large bump the size of an orange. Congratulations, now a giant robot will go out of your head. Then I remembered Jeff. One of the guys that came in was here with me, the one with the burns. Is he going to be alright? She sighed. Listen. There was 2 boys that were brought in. No! There was 2 boys. No! That's it. That's not how you write it. There were 2 boys. There were 2 boys. Learn the fucking English before you write. That were brought in with you that had burns. And now I'm not going to I'm not letting you see him just because he's your boyfriend. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. The stench of fan fiction stories. I don't know, for a moment it started getting very stinky. Excuse me for a moment. It's sickeningly bad. I felt the heat rise in my face. And possibly another place. He isn't my boyfriend. I'm just worried about him. Wouldn't you be worried about someone who just saw burning alive in front of you? I don't know. But surely, if someone would help someone being on fire, certainly wouldn't hit themselves with fire extinguisher. Instead they would use it to, I don't know, extinguish the fire, but you know what? The blanket would be a better option. I tried to keep my voice steady, but my voice quivered enough to make it sound like I was lying. I see where this is going. Whatever. Your parents are here, by the way. Wanna see them? She asked. Yes, of course! anything to get me away from that nurse. Yeah. Because that nurse was so happy to see you. My parents came in and the nurse finally left. Sorry. They asked what happened. I told them everything. The fight, the note, all of it. And it might have took you quite some time. I knew that Randy was no good, my mom said. No way! No way! You don't say. So have you heard anything about Jeff's condition? I asked. Yeah, basically he's charged or whatever. And basically he's going to die, so why bother? No, not a thing, said my dad. We just got here as soon as we heard about what happened to you. But who told you? I asked. I didn't think I saw anyone at the party that my family knew. Who told you? You ask who told your parents about you going to the hospital. Maybe they were your neighbors who knew you lot because you live next to them and they know your face, they see you every fucking day. The hospital called us, Mom said. Why? Did Jane have a phone number to you or whatever the hell? Wasn't her phone like discharged or whatever the hell? Well, I guess that makes sense. It doesn't make any sense. It made absolutely no sense to me, of course. Don't steal my lines. How would someone be able to identify me without me having any form of identification? Maybe, as I said a moment ago, they were your neighbors. They know you. They see you every fucking day. They know who you are. I looked in the doorway and saw a man and a woman standing in there. My parents followed my gaze and saw them too. Don't gaze at them or you'll turn them into stone. Excuse me, but is this Jane Jane Oklahoma's room? The woman asked. Yes, my mother answered. Who are you? Well, I'm Margaret, and this is Peter Parker, my husband. She gestured to the man beside her. We're Jeff's parents. Oh, and what about that other lad, that the second son of yours, that rots in juvie? I sat up in my bed. Yeah. I don't think you had an IV, but don't sit up so rapidly, otherwise you'll get dizzy and fall again. I'm Isabel. This is my husband Greg and our daughter Jane. Mom gestured to me, possibly with distaste in her eyes. So you're the girl who ran in with the fire extinguisher, Margaret said. I thought that's Margaret, but never mind. Yes, I replied quietly, embarrassed. Who wouldn't be embarrassed because of that stupid fainting you had? Is your son alright? He just came out of surgery a few hours ago. The doctor said he will be fine. Yeah, his skin will be like charred or whatever, and he won't be having any hair, but he should be Yeah, this is just this is something you can live with. That's no problem. I relaxed at that thought. That's good, I said. That isn't good because he will have constant pain, and he will need to have painkillers throughout all of his life. Said yours truly. Listen, I know what happened to Jeff and Lou on their first day of school. Then I told Jeff's parents what really happened to Randy and his crew. Well, we had no idea that Jeff was capable of something like this, Peter said. Oh my god, I gave him... that was him saying this. I gave quite a high-pitched voice. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, his bollocks were squished so he was almost singing with a falsetto. I am willing to testify that Lou didn't beat up anyone and that Jeff only beat up Randy and his gang in self-defense. No need, said Margaret. Lou is being released from jail after what happened to those boys. Released from jail! So in this story he didn't go to juvie, he went straight up to prison. With no trial. With no sentence. That's good, I said. That is no good, said yours truly. We just came to say thank you for trying to help our son, Jane. For bringing that fire extinguisher and so on. Pity you couldn't use it. It warms my heart to see selfless people in your generation. What's that? What's this? Who talks like that? Wouldn't it be better to say, it makes me happy to see people like you being so helpful. I blushed. I did anything anyone would have done in my situation. I looked down. I'm not a hero. Yeah, because bringing the fire extinguisher and then fading and hitting yourself onto it, your head on it, was such a heroic deed. Nonsense, said Margaret. The least we can do is invite you over to our place for dinner when Jeff gets out of the hospital. I looked at Mom and Dad. It would be an honor, my mom said. Such a fancy way of life in a fancy neighborhood. Free fucking meals and possibly booze. It's settled then. We'll call you as soon as Jeff gets out of the hospital. We said our goodbyes and then they left. Yeah. Another. I guess great minds think alike, they say, but I don't think there are any great minds in this neighborhood. About 2 days passed and I was allowed to be released from the hospital. During that time I had no contact with Jeff or his family, but I heard that Lou was released from jail. From jail. Wasn't that juvie in the original? And Jeff's wounds were healing. Yeah, possibly healing bad, healing very slow. When I got back to school, I became the center of attention, more or less because I was the only one who saw what happened at the party. You and all the adults and children. That's more than one person. But the only people I told about what happened were my friends, Danny, Marcy, and Erica. I didn't know what to tell them, so I told them what I saw. And the reason you introduce your friends at this moment is because... Sounds like Jeff got his arse handed to him, said Danny. She had raven black hair with sapphire blue eyes. She was usually the most level-headed of us. I don't know, because, you know, self-defense is just such a heinous crime. Well, at least he went down fighting. I heard he took those idiots to the hospital with him. Erica snickered. She always dressed like she was from the 80s or something. Long, thigh-high, rainbow-colored socks with hair to match, and always wearing some kind of backpack with her. That's actually a good clown costume if you think of that. He also took Jane to the hospital. Maybe she was trying to beat him up too. Marcy laughed. She wanted to beat up this idiot. For what reason? She seemed to be the girly girl of a little group. She was blonde with brown eyes, and nearly every time we saw her she had some sort of pink on her, whether it was the color of her shirt or the jewelry around her neck, and she was one of the biggest drama queens I knew. You know, being a big drama queen doesn't make a good actress of you. Always stretching out the truth or blowing something out of proportion. Yeah, I guess some political party would like to hire you as the PR merchant. I don't know what's worse, sneeze or this story. I told you, I went over there to try and help Jeff because something was wrong, I muttered. As the plain Jane, brown hair, green eyes, completely unremarkable looks-wise. Why you introduced that in this paragraph, I have no bloody idea. Because I don't find that information any important. Or maybe you wanted to see your loved one last time before he left to go get help for himself, Marcy said in her dramatic voice. I just looked at her with my eyes the size of dinner plates. Watch out before your eyes pop out. What? You can't deny it, Jay in Oklahoma. You have a crush on Jeff. Oh my god. This stench came back again. Much stronger. Oh. It's nasty. Every blood cell in my body decided to migrate to my face at once when she said that. Pity they didn't migrate out of your body. I won't specify which way. We don't need that. What? No! I just wanted to help him, that's all. Liar! I saw you leave that note you left. I saw you leave that note you left on his desk. Okay. What was it? A confession of love for him? Stop it! No, it was nothing like that. So you admit you'd left him a note then? What do you mean? I was guessing. She gave me a cynical little smile and then just waited for my response. The other girls started laughing at me. Oh, woe betide you when I become Jane the Killer. Then you will feel my unrelentless, furious wrath. Jane, it's only a joke. I was just kidding. Marcy smiled. Your face is redder than a tomato, Erica cackled. I hate all of you, I grumbled. Beware my fire extinguisher of justice. Oh, stop being so serious. Danny put a hand on my shoulder. Come on, let's get to class. At least one level-headed, although you weren't so level-headed when you were laughing like an idiot out of your friend. The weeks went by, everything seemed to be normal. I think Lou even made a few friends. Oh, really? Everything was normal and nothing happened. You know, aside my friends making fun of me, maybe for justified reason. Then Luke came up to me one day and told me about Jeff. Excuse me, your name is Jane, right? I turned around and looked. It was Lou. Yes, and you're Lou, right? Jeff's brother. Lou, Jeff, Lou. Repetitions. Yeah, he looked a little uncomfortable. Then again, so was I. Don't suggest anything. Look, my parents wanted me to tell you that Jeff is getting his bandages removed in a few days, so expect a phone call inviting you to dinner soon. Okay, well, thank you. What is this? What the dash is doing there, I don't know. I said. He was about to turn away when I said, hey, listen, what you did for Jeff, that was really respectable. Respectable. But it would sound... that was appropriate. Thanks. I heard you tried to help my brother with a fire extinguisher. That was cool. I guess he tried to not cackle with laughter. Yeah, well, thanks. See you around, I guess. Yeah, see ya. I was watching him walk away when I heard a little voice beside me say, cheating on your boyfriend, are you? Trying to murder me in his sleep? Trying to murder him in his sleep? I already used the what no card, so fuck off. The fuck? I turned around, surprised. It was Marcy. And with his own brother, nonetheless. Nonetheless, instead of nonetheless. She fake gasped. Shut up, I yelled. I'll kill you with my fire extinguisher. Then I turned my head to make sure Lou didn't hear me. He didn't. Because he didn't care. Let's just get to class, I grumbled. 2 days passed until the phone rang. My mom answered it. A few minutes later she got off and Lou told me this. Jeff is getting out of the hospital today, Jane. I looked up at her and said, that's great. It looks like we'll be having that free dinner in a few days, she chuckled. Another materialistic bitch. Really. A few hours passed and I heard a car pull into the driveway across the street. I looked out the window and saw Jeff's car in front of his house. Is it that his father's car? As far as I know, this idiot doesn't have a license. Jeff's home, I thought. I decided to watch out of curiosity to see what he would look like. Didn't you have anything better to do? Dear God, how wrong I was. His dad got out, then his mom, then Lou. But what I expected Jeff to look like couldn't be farther from what I saw. So basically you saw that he was ugly as fuck. He had long black hair down to his shoulders, white leathery skin, and that smile. Don't tell me he carved it when he was in the hospital. It wasn't like that in that story. Also, how could you spot that leathery skin of his? Did you telepathically touch him? That smile was the same smile I saw when he was in class after he beat up Randy, Keith and Troy. Ah, okay, so he didn't carve this smile with his pocket knife or whatever. But Jeff looked right at me. Into my eyes. I could feel those soulless, sadistic eyes burn right into my soul. Yeah, because I could totally see that being 50 meters away from him at minimum. I presume 250 would be proper value, proper number. Even though I stood that far, I was able to look into his eyes and vice versa. I still shake from the memory even now as I type this. He seemed to be looking at me for hours with that smile until he looked away. Yeah, because, you know, he too had better things to do. I saw him walk into the house with his parents. I didn't even breathe until that door finally closed behind them. Another one who forgets how to breathe. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Simple as... That's even simpler thing than counting to 5. My parents came into the living room and asked me what was wrong. Because I guess they noticed you they noticed you haven't come for I don't know, for lunch or what. My only reply was a long, loud scream. Are you a bird or something? Then I fainted. Really, your psyche is really, really pathetic. And your physical condition as well, because you keep fading out of blue because of some bizarre reasons. When I finally woke up, it was dark outside. My parents weren't in the bedroom. Why would they be in the bedroom? Also, shouldn't they be helping you regain consciousness or whatever? The house was deathly quiet. So they left the house instead of helping their own daughter. I got up and went downstairs. I was wearing a long nightgown that I wasn't wearing before I fainted. Ugh. This sounds so bad. I got up and went downstairs. I went downstairs to the kitchen. The lights were on, which was unusual. My parents always told me to turn off the lights in a room when I left it. I don't know, maybe they were in a hurry or what. There was a note on the table. I picked it up. Scrawled on the paper was this. Aren't you coming to the dinner? Your friends are here too. So wait, that dinner was prepared like in advance, that it was supposed to take place when this idiot was signed off from the hospital? Couldn't you at least have, I don't know, couldn't they, I don't know, get some... Could they call each other to set the proper date when they would be able to meet up or whatever? I began to shake violently. I guess you would be rocking on the dance floor. I dropped the paper. I went to the living room window and looked out. The lights were on in Jeff's house. I knew that I had to go there. For what particular reason? Shouldn't you first call your mom first? Because we know you broke your father's phone, so I guess your mom would have a working phone at least. But I was terrified out of my mind. I shook my head and looked back again. I saw Jeff leaning on the window in his house, staring at me with a knife. I saw Jeff leaning on the window in his house, staring at me. He was leaning on his house, on the window in his own house. And somehow he kept staring at you, because I don't know. He was able to peer, to see... never mind, that's just pointless. With a knife in his hand and tapping it against the window. Tap, tap, tap. He was still smiling. Tap, tap, tap. How were you able to hear that? Was he tapping in your window? No, he was tapping in his window. So how were you able to hear that in the first place? I started stepping back from the window, never taking my eyes off of him. Again. Then I turned and ran away from the window into the kitchen. Watch out to not trip yourself and hit anything else, like you did with a fire extinguisher. All I saw was a smear of red on the window. On yours or his, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, he was spraying some ketchup on the glass. I turned around and looked at the kitchen. Everything seemed to be in its place, even the knives. I grabbed one of them and held on tight. Knife against this idiot. Shouldn't you pick up some better weapon with much broader range of use? I don't know, baseball bat, a bat, a pistol. Your old man was a gun, was a policeman. So obviously he would have a pistol. Or even better, grab a fire extinguisher and swing it around. That would be a good weapon. Much better than a simple kitchen knife. Then I found the phone and tried to dial 911, but the phone line was disconnected. Because your parents forgot to pay bills. That's how fancy lifestyle they have. Sorry. I didn't want to get stabbed in the back while I was looking for it. So I don't know, get yourself some shield, I don't know. The pot covers would be a good weapon if they're made of steel. They would deflect the knife. And if I went to ask one of the neighbors for help, Jeff could kill or hurt whoever he had captive. Whoever he have captive. That's how it's written. Better would be whoever he have... No, whoever he has held captive. So there was only one choice. No, there were other choices. To go fight Jeff alone. You didn't have to fight him alone. You could always ask neighbor. Even if he kills someone, it would still be blamed on him, not on you. At least you would have a backup. I clutched the knife tighter and went to the front door, put on my shoes and went outside. My hand lingered on the doorknob as I stepped outside, but I knew what I had to do. I let go of the doorknob and marched across the street to Jeff's house. Still, I think you should need some backup, because you know, 2 people versus 1 is quite a good advantage. 200%. As I got closer to the front door of his house, I began to slow down. My knees began to shake, my palms began to sweat, and I started to breathe faster and shallower. Before I knew it, I was standing completely still on the front doorstep, panting like a dog. You start staying completely still. I guess someone used... I guess Geoffrey said his Pokemon that used an ice attack on you. Quickly use defrost. I man up, grabbed the doorknob, squeezed my ass shut and jerked it open. First, there are no comas. Second, why would you enter this house with your eyes shut? What point does this make? What's the point of that? You wouldn't be able to see this idiot, so you wouldn't be able to dodge his attack if he swung the knife at you. I'm sorry, but I stood there in the doorway with an... Sorry. I stood there in the doorway with a knife in my right hand and the doorknob in my left, too terrified to open my eyes. Because, you know, and possibly becoming quite an easy target for a hack attack. Until I heard a voice say, "Looks like you made it. I'm glad you did, friend." I opened my eyes, then screamed. Ah! His eyes were large and unblinking, which shouldn't have happened because, you know, he burned off his eyelids, so basically he would have eyes at any point. And his smile was red. He had carved a smile into his face. His clothes were covered in blood, and then I passed out. How pathetic is your condition? Again, that you keep passing out. What's your problem with that? When I woke up, I was at a dining room table. My knife was gone, and when I looked up, I saw people sitting at the table. My parents, Jeff's parents, his brother Lou, and my friends. They were all dead. With smiles carved into their faces and huge red cavities in their chests. Well, basically, now that's your reason to go kill this idiot. Because he killed them all with powers of constipation. The smell was unbearable. It's indescribable, unlike anything I had ever smelled before. It was the smell of death. Yeah, because he forgot to embalm them, and it was basically a stench of a rotting corpse, or rotting corpses, because. But wait a second, I have one question. How long did it take him to kill his own parents, your parents, his own brother, and 3 of your friends? That's 4, 5, 8 people. He killed them all and dragged them into one location. This story does not tell, and you won't tell us either. You MC Muppet. I tried to scream, but I had a gag in my mouth and I was tied to a chair. Please don't let her speak. I looked around at the room in disbelief. Tears were welling up in my eyes from the sight and smell of the bodies. This story reeks with bad qualities to the point I need to blow my nose. Look who's finally awake. I turned and looked beside me. Jeff was there. I tried screaming, but the gag was in the way. Please don't let her say anything. Suddenly he was beside with the knife against my throat. Shh. It's not polite to scream at friends. He began sliding the blade across my face, constantly tracing invisible lines from the corners of my mouth up my cheeks in a large grinning smile. My god, this is just plain awful. I feel dirty. I shivered as he did this, but out of fear or out of excitement, I don't know. When I turned away from him, he grabbed the back of my head and forced me to look at the scene at the table. I guess you... never mind. No, don't be rude. You're insulting everyone by not looking at their pretty faces. Why would she look at their mutilated corpses? It's a natural reaction to turn your eyes away from that sight. I looked back at the table, looking at everyone with their faces carved into smiles and some with their chests still bleeding fresh blood. I don't think that they would keep bleeding after hours of being dead, because all the blood would simply dry out. Hot tears began running down my face and I began to sob. Ah, so you'll make a waterfall down there. Oh, what's wrong, Jeff Bird? Are you upset that you don't look beautiful like them? Yeah, basically, they look so beautiful. You will become a good facial surgeon. I looked at him, trying to understand what he said, but I looked away when I saw his face again and looked back to the table. From rain under the pipe. So that's not good. Don't worry, I'll make you look beautiful too. What do you say? He then slid the knife under the gag and cut it off. I spat out the gag and looked at him straight in his eyes, trying to hold his gaze. He tilted his head to the side as he looked back at me. Maybe because the screws in his back were pretty rusty and his head is going to fall off. Then I shut my eyes and looked away from him. Then I muttered tightly, "Go fuck yourself." Then I turned to look at him again. "You Joker reject!" But which Joker? Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, or maybe Jun Fukuyama in Persona 5. He just laughed in my face. I preferred when he just smiled. I don't know. I wouldn't. I would laugh looking at this idiot. "You're even funnier than I thought." He came closer to me. I looked away again, feeling his breath against my skin, and it was stinky. You'd better brush your teeth. Friends do friends favors, right? Well, I'm going to do a favor for you. I didn't want to make sound this seductive at all. I felt him let go the back of my head. When I looked back, wait a second. So you were able to turn your head while he was still holding it. I totally believe you, really. When I looked back, he was out of the room. I looked back at the table once more, taking it all in. Fresh tears started to come down my face again as I remembered my family and friends who were alive only a few hours ago. A few hours, but I don't know, it wasn't specified, like it was 6 hours or whatever. Though I would still have many questions, but I'll just spare them because I won't get any answers for them. I was still crying when Jeff came back. "Don't cry," he said. "It will be all over soon." I looked down at him and saw he was holding a jug of bleach and a can of gas. At least this one doesn't say it's a thing of bleach or whatever the hell, like it was a solid object. It says a jug, so we know it's liquid. But a can of gas. I don't know, but there's a reason the petrol shouldn't be used in a closed area. Because you know what happens when you mix petrol fumes with air? It's an explosive mixture. And if you try to light this up, it will blow violently. My eyes widened and I looked back at him. I guess you found out what will happen. My eyes widened and I looked back at him. Ah, sorry, I read that. I didn't have any alcohol, so this will have to do. Yeah, because you know you could always use. I'm pretty sure your parents would have some vodka in the cupboard. You could always use that. But I don't know, maybe maybe it was being prepared for all that fancy dinner, but they forgot. But it turned out it was already drank out earlier, because I don't know, your father and mother were celebrating Lou's imprisonment. Then he began to douse me in bleach and gasoline. So he. Oh my god, sorry. So he basically dipped you in it, or what? No, he just poured it on you. We had better hurry, Jane. I've already called the firemen. Then he held up a single match. Okay, at least this time he knew that throwing a lighter would be pointless, but lit it, and it exploded. Actually, it's not written like, because lit it, then threw it at me. I'm pretty sure that by the point you lit up that match, there will be already a huge explosion within this house. The flames erupted as soon as the match came into contact with me. Oh really? Because I thought the flames would erupt as soon as the spark from lighting the match came into contact with the vapors of the petrol. I screamed as loud as possible. The pain was unbearable. I could feel the flesh melting off my body, the heat invading every pore in my body, blood evaporating in its veins, and my bones becoming charred and brittle. What a torture. And you'll soon die. Before I blacked out, I heard Jeff laughing. See you later, my friend. I hope you become as beautiful as I am. Then everything went black. And we can rejoice because she's dead. Except she isn't. Because if you say the blood in your veins evaporated, you should be dropped dead. Ah, Jesus. But okay, there's 2 more pages to go, 2 more pages. When I woke up, I was sitting in a hospital bed, bandaged from head to toe. Everything was spinning and it hurt to blink and breathe. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. Oh my god. I looked around and saw an empty room. Oh, really? You saw an empty room? I thought you would see, like, I don't know, a cloth over your eyes because, you know, you're bandaged from head to toe. And I presume you had problems with breathing because you said it hurt you. I groaned loudly because my mouth was bandaged. Yeah, because I would also be kind of... groaning, being unable to eat or even breathe properly. Everything hurt. A nurse came in a few minutes later. Jane, can you hear me? I looked toward her. The room started spinning even more. I already used that joke, so fuck off. Jane, I'm your nurse, Jackie. I don't know how to say this, but your family died in the fire. I'm sorry. Yeah, we all know they didn't die in the family. They were already dead when the fire broke out. So, this is not silly. Tears started falling down my face again. I sobbed. No, honey, don't cry. You won't be able to breathe if you do. I couldn't stop. So please suffocate. We won't regret you. Jane, I'm going to give you something to help you calm down, alright? I felt something run into my bloodstream, then I fell asleep again. Yeah, because the nurse can normally apply you medicine without doctor's supervision. So go sleep and never wake up. Sooner we finish this, the better. But no, because we still have around 2 pages to go. 2 pages to go. When I woke up, I could move more, and my body wasn't as bandaged as it was written. When I first woke up, I looked around and saw that my room had flowers in it. Some were fresh, some were dying. Yeah, I guess you had quite a... So I guess you had a... I presume some friend of yours found out that kept visiting you or whatever. I don't know. But you were just sleeping. I don't know what friend, because your 3 best friends were killed by that Muppet. I tried to get up, but a nurse came in and put me back down. Because that's that IV in your arm. Easy, Jane. You've been asleep for a while. Try to take it easy. Yeah, take it easy. Being in pain, but never mind. I tried to speak. My voice came out rough and sandpapery. How long? Okay, it was meant to be sandpapery, so. Oh my god. Sounds like a Donald Duck with throat infection. Almost 2 weeks. You were put in a medically induced coma in order for your body to heal. I'm the same nurse you saw the first time you woke up. Yeah, but you could see me already, even though your entire face was bandaged and you could barely see and barely breathe. I said. Shane, I don't think that's why. Really, Donald Duck with throat infection. I felt the handle of a mirror get slipped into my head. When I looked into the mirror, I dropped it onto the floor. Oh, great. Now you will have 7 years of... you will have 7 unlucky years. Karma is a bitch. The shattering of the mirror didn't compare to the shattering of my realization. Your psyche just finally let go. How nice. My skin was leathery and brown. I didn't have a single hair on my head, and the skin around my eyes was saggy. Was saggy. Skin. You have only one skin that covers your entire body. I looked almost as bad as Jeff. Yeah, we know he looks bad, but I don't know. Everything came flooding back for me. I began to cry harder than I ever had before. I want to do this voice with crying because I don't want my heart to I don't want my throat to suffer more. The nurse was hugging me, but it didn't help much. Yeah, but at least you know, you could share your grievances with someone. You weren't alone. And I guess that nurse was actually at least more sympathetic to you than the other one who saw you being brought to hospital after you hit the fire extinguisher. At the height of my sobbing, I was surprised that nobody else came in to check up on me. I don't know, because you know, your parents were dead. I don't know about your grandparents. You didn't mention you have an uncle or anything, so why you're surprised? Although being a 14 years old, you would possibly, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be allowed to even stay alone at your old house, because you know you wouldn't have a you wouldn't have any person who would be legally responsible for you if you did something, if you wanted to do something. By the time I was done, I could barely speak. Not if you could speak nicely before, because of course the throat infection is not something you can ignore. You should fight it as soon as possible. Someone came into the doorway. Excuse me, I have a delivery for a Miss Oklahoma. Yeah. I'll take those. Jackie stood up and went to the doorway. I didn't want the delivery guy to look at me, so I stared at the wall in front of me. Not that he couldn't see you anyway, because you know, there was no curtain. Someone certainly cares about you, Jane. It looks like the same person who sent you all these flowers got you a package too. Why do you assume it was the same person? I looked around at her. She was holding a pink paper package tied with a brown string. I reached out and took it from her. Also grunting from pain because all my muscles were pretty weakened. The second I took that package from her, I knew something was wrong. Excuse me, but what would I slave? In case you didn't understand, Excuse me, but could I have something to eat? I asked as sweetly as possible. Yeah, that Donald Duck voice with would sound so sweetly. Sorry. Of course, I'll get you some food right away. Jackie smiled back and left the room. My hands shook as I grabbed the string and pulled it. The paper lightly bounced up and I saw something that turned my blood to ice. I thought your blood was a vapor, but now it's a ice. Now, then you should be dropped dead as well. It was a white mask with black around the eyes and a black feminine smile. It also had black lace covering the eyes holes of the mask, so even though someone couldn't see my eyes, I could see them. There was also a long black dress with a turtleneck, black gloves and a black wig with beautiful curls. Along with all these things, there was a bouquet of black roses. Yeah, about that outfit or so. Sounds like a sounds like an almost perfect cosplay of Sadako. Almost perfect cosplay of Sadako, I think. That would be occasionally nice. And a sharp kitchen knife. Now that the knife doesn't fit to Sadako. Think of something else. Attached to the mask there was also a note. Jane, I'm sorry I messed up with trying to make you beautiful. So I gave you a mask that will let you seem beautiful until you get better. Also, you forgot your knife. I thought you wanted it back, Jeff. You moron! The knife doesn't fit Sadako at all. You had to you made a perfect outfit, perfect cosplay outfit, and you just ruined it. By the time Nurse Jackie came back, the present was hidden under my bed. I told her all that there was the flowers. Yeah, because she wouldn't notice that was just way bigger than because people people carry flowers in the box. She seemed to be disgusted by them, so she threw them out. I thanked her for that. I don't know, maybe these flowers were actually good, but I don't know. That night, when everyone was either asleep or going home, I sneaked out. Because suddenly I felt like a surge of strength going through my body that was suddenly able to lift myself up with no problem whatsoever. Because, you know, that's how the healing works, I think. Just just within one evening. The only thing I had to wear was that dress. So I put it on and found a pair of shoes outside in the hallway, forgotten by some careless nurse. Funny that a nurse forgot her shoes and was walking home barefoot. Barefoot. Really. I wore the wig to look less inconspicuous. Well, not that if anyone saw you, because you know everyone has fallen asleep. I didn't know where I was going and I didn't care. I think you should care where you were going, because otherwise you would be hit by a car or a truck. When I finally stopped walking, I was in front of a cemetery. I went inside and found 2 tombs. Who's there? Hello? Who's there? Oh, hello, Vile. Sorry, I could barely hear you. What were you saying?
Nothing.
No.
I was listening.
Okay.
Following TV.
Okay, just let me finish that.
Sure.
Finish the story. I went inside and found 2 tombstones that were just right next to the gate. Isabel, Oklahoma, and Gregory, Oklahoma. I sat down in front of their tombstones and cried once more. I have a question. How you were able to get inside the graveyard? Is it usually that the gateway to the graveyard is locked during the night time? Unless, I don't know, you got the powers of a fox or whatever the hell and just jumped over the fence. When I finally sat up, the sun was beginning to rise, and so was a new chapter in my life. So, by what time you left the hospital? You sneaked out of the hospital, or what? And how long were? And you were like walking all the night, wearing only a dress. Good luck not having a fucking sneeze. I took the mask and put it on, then picked up the knife and held it as tightly as I did before. Yeah, the knife it does not fit you. Get some better weapon. Get a fire extinguisher. That's better weapon. Then I turned around and looked at the rising sun. There's a house in New Orleans. Oh my God. On that day, I swore my revenge against Jeff the Killer and donned my new name, Jane Everlasting. So, if your new name is Everlasting, why this story is called Jane the Killer in the first place? For I want the only thing to be more everlasting for Jeff than his madness, to be his death. I presume you're not original in this. I think many people would want this idiot to die. In what manner, though, it's debatable. Ever since that day, I have been trying to find Jeff and kill him. Hunting him like the animal he is. And also a moron. I will find you, Jeff, and I will kill you. As for the photo that has been popping up of me saying, "Don't go to sleep, you won't wake up," that pretty much explains what I want to do with Jeff's victims. Prevent them from becoming victims in the first place. Oh my God, you mean that you will kill innocent people so they won't fall to this moron's hands? To make them not becoming his victims, you will slaughter them. I have never seen more fundamentally broken modus operandi. Whoever said that I killed them so they don't get killed by Jeff is a gross overstatement. It's not a fucking overstatement! That's exactly what you said! That's exactly what you have admitted to. And this modus operandi is fucking pointless. It's fundamentally broken. So this is my story. Whether you accept this as a fact or not, up for me to decide. No, it's up for me to decide whether I accept this as a fact or not, and I think that's a load of bollocks. Now if you excuse me, the sun is going down, and the hunt is beginning once more. Yeah, because I was sitting in a fucking graveyard for 12 hours staring at the sun, like a monument. And that, my dear, is the end of this story. Holy Jesus. This is just broken.
I almost half expected Jane the Killer to be just a female version of Jeff.
First of all, it kinda is, but the point is that she was thought as some sort of a rival to him, not his love interest. But I think by seeing by the tone when this moron was talking to her, and even he sent her flowers and all that new outfit, I presume he swapped his he swapped the thinking functions. Swapped his thinking functions. No, swapped his brain with his cock. That's why I had a bloody stench of fan fictions. That's why I couldn't. I simply couldn't stand it. It reeked with fan fiction, and basically overall, it's just telling the same story as the 2011 version of Jeff the Killer, but from a perspective of some broad that once wishes him the worst, once she tries to be sympathetic to him, and then she wants to kill him out of nowhere, until she finds out that he slaughtered her parents and her friends that existed only for one purpose, to be a meat shield. But to be fair, also the spelling cock-ups, the grammar cock-ups, that also was in the Jeff the Killer story. But at least here we had an epic moment with the fire extinguisher, and sadly it's not used as her weapon. That pisses me off. She also gets a fucking knife, which is which is so fucking overplayed. But here's a catch. Do you remember when I told, when I said about the bonus? This story is not the original story of Jane the Killer. No, it was written as some sort of genesis for this character, although this is the story that popularized this character. The real creator of the Jane the Killer character was called. Wait a second, I need to check my browser history for that, because I really forgot this yesterday. No, last 7 days. I think this should be somewhere. Jesus. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. Yeah, open it, open it, open it. Yeah. The original creator of this character was called Angry Dog Designs. And this lady, because I checked her DeviantArt, and this was, that's indeed the lady, created this character quite a long time ago, because her DeviantArt page was set up 14 years ago. And her story doesn't take more than half of the page in Word. So, as a bonus, I will read you out this story with my usual mannerism to do wits, and you'll decide, and you'll see the see what's different or what's not. So let's begin. On a hot summer night around 4:33 in the morning, as Jeff the Killer took another victim, this time a young wife, and also leaving her husband with a massive skull fracture as a result of blunt force trauma. The only one to survive was the couple's 4-month-old baby that police have discovered crying in its crib. Yeah, so basically this moron stabbed to death a young woman and threw something heavy into her husband's skull. But didn't notice a 4-month-old baby in a crib. Alongside with a space bar between, police have found a letter which was written on the back of a paper grocery bag in a black Sharpie marker. So the bag was in the marker. I didn't know you can fit a bag in a marker. The bag is usually bigger. And the Motorola Droid faintly illuminated under the baby's blanket. Who puts a phone, I guess, I presume that's a phone, on their baby's blanket? I mean, you put on the baby's body and just cover it with a blanket. I don't know. The babysitter, who was locked in the closet during the time, because I don't know why she was locked in the closet in the first place, we don't know. During the time, claimed she smelled the lingering odor of women's cheap perfume and felt body glitter on the baby's crib. Oh no, I'm not trying to do some jokes in this manner, because I'm certainly fed up. I'm not in mood to do such jokes. Don't force me to make them, please. But who was it from? Police were able to decipher the writing on the grocery bag because it was possibly written in some coded message that they needed to decipher. Could be hexadecimal code, could be binary code, or whatever. The story does not tell. And here's what it said. Yeah, that's yeah, that's stupid. That's stupid. Jeff, if you are reading this, know that no matter how many innocent victims you claim or how much innocent blood you shed, I'm still coming for you in the end. All of the men and women you so viciously slaughtered and disemboweled, I beat you to it. I killed them not because I hate them. I imagined those victims were you as I took their lives. This is the major flaw of this character. Fundamentally broken modus operandi. It was the mere vision of you that made me kill them. I never did like you, you greasy-headed, grinning, smug, ignorant son of a bitch. And also a fish face, and a blind fish face, because you were so smart to burn off your eyelids. My black eyes may look like I'm void of vision, but I'm not stupid. Just remember, the night that you creep into the poor girl's bedroom, you're gonna fall head over heels down the fucking stairs with your guts caught on the broken glass of the window that I smashed you into. Poor girl's bedroom. You're the poor one. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Tonight, when I reach you, evil will battle evil. Winner kills all, and the only one who will not get out alive is you. I'm coming for you. Sleep well. Signed, Jane the Killer. So what can I say about this story? What can we say about this story in particular? Honestly, I find it as a sodding joke, because this is just... What happens, mate? Never mind. I'll just finish my opinion. This story, although short, is still fatal. I mean, this time it's just generic portrayal of the Killerverse main character that's simply killing because of pointless reason, even though she motivates that all slaughter with the thirst of vengeance. I see no bloody point in killing innocents. And this story at the beginning assumes it was Jeff who killed those that couple, and it turns out later that it wasn't Jeff, but it was that stupid broad, which is completely pointless. This story is basically... Sorry, mate, I can't hear you. I can't understand what are you saying. Would you get your microphone closer, because I can't understand. I don't know. This story is also
Saying anything.
Okay, sorry, but to be fair, at least this story has two advantages over the first story that was 10 pages long. One, it didn't delve into the sudden fan fiction territory when when the author tried to establish a love interest between Jane and Jeff, and second, it's short. It's way shorter than the first story, but it's still fatally flawed. Killing innocents to prevent becoming victims of another killing is pointless, because they drop dead anyway. They get slaughtered anyway. I presume none of the stories have been written with something that's called common sense. And they were trying to be somewhat scary or so. The first story even does it have a basic sense of what would make this story scary, because there's no setup, there's no pacing, there's no fucking tension. All we have is a stupid protagonist who keeps telling how much he has better things to do than watch some idiots punching each other in the street, but decides to watch them anyway. And for some reason, at one moment, she's wishing the worst to other character, then tries to be sympathetic to them, and then again becomes a sodden cunt. I have never seen such an emotional roller coaster like here. But you know, this doesn't stop the fanbase from being toxic as ever and trying to ship those two characters at many places possible. Like, I've seen countless of drawings presenting them doing some naughty poses or whatever the hell, doing some other stuff that would certainly etch themselves into my vision. I've seen a lot of them, and I feel disgusted. Even though I know in the first story for quite a while, I knew it's probably pointless. She's supposed to be a fucking rival of his. Why do you make her a love interest or what? Sorry, better if I just stop talking about it, because I'm already messing up words. I'm getting angry over basically a stupid fan fiction, and this is just plain wrong. Although I plan to tackle like the stories that tell about their confrontation, because I saw couple of stories that tell about the confrontation of these two idiots, because both Jeff the Killer and Jane the Killer are the stupidest characters in a story that's supposed to be scary you can ever imagine. But I think they're not as stupid as the main character from Sonic EXE, but they're still stupid. And with this, I shall conclude this episode of ShitePasta reading, because I don't want to get too much angry. Once again, thanks Val for quick appearance or what. Many thanks for you listening to my ramble. I presume this, as far as I know, this is the longest episode I tackled. Possibly it takes about 2 hours or so, including my breaks or what. And I just need to have a good rest, warm myself up, beat up these knees so I could tackle more stories When I will tackle them, I have no bloody idea, but hopefully I will tackle them soon. But for now, many thanks, Pirate Antics. Thank you a lot for listening to this episode of ShitePasta, and see you again soon. Good night.